Oh my gosh, here we go. Morning, everybody. I want you to keep a very special intention in your mind. I don't know if you remember that a few days back, maybe beginning of this week, I'd said there was an elderly gentleman who was in the hospital with COVID. And I spoke to his wife last night, and she is so beside herself because he's now on a ventilator. And she just cried, "I just want my husband back." And I asked her if her children were around. He said yes, but her son also had COVID, so her son cannot visit the hospital or the mother. So this elderly woman is all by herself at home. Cannot go and see her husband, cannot go and see her son. It's just terrible. I think we have done a terrible disservice in this nation by minimizing the effects of COVID. But real people are hurting, real people are dying, real people are suffering. I want you to pray for this couple today. May he recover because he's on a ventilator. May he recover and get back united to his family. Please. So last night was the last of the presidential debates. And I did not watch it for two reasons. One is I had a long day, including I had the sacrament of confirmation for the children at St. Helen Parish. And secondly, because I've already voted. So no matter what you say, I have already made up my mind and I've voted. We have just less than 2 weeks left for the election. And as you can imagine, I have received numerous emails from people about what I should preach, what I should say, what I should do. And of course, I am smart enough not to fall into the trap, mainly because I believe that Jesus and the gospel is bigger than the election, for one. Priests and bishops have come out talking and endorsing candidates, and I just think it's a foolish thing to do for two reasons. Because it alienates people. And secondly, it puts the mission of the church and the message of the gospel at risk. And I think all those things are bigger, and I think bishops and priests sometimes lose sight of their real calling. And the reason I say all this to you is because of today's first reading, where Paul says, "I, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to live in a manner worthy of the call you have received." I want you to pay attention to the seriousness, the depth of these words that Paul is speaking, okay? I urge you to live in a manner worthy of the call you have received, with all humility and gentleness. Humility, gentleness. With patience, bearing with one another through love, striving to preserve the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Now you know why I did not watch the debates last night. So my question to you is this. Humility, gentleness, patience, bearing with one another through love, striving to preserve the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Does that define you? Is that you? Somebody is going to win the election and somebody is going to lose the election, right? When you stand before God, after all this is said and done, God will not care about who won or who lost. The only question that God is going to ask you is, did you live in a manner worthy of the call that you received? Were you humble like Jesus? Were you gentle like Jesus? What about patience and bearing with one another through love? Is that you? Did you strive to preserve the unity of the Spirit? Did you keep the bond of peace? If this is not who you and I are, then it does not matter who won or lost the election. The bottom line is we have already lost. Paul says, I, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to live in a manner worthy of the call you have received, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another through love, striving to preserve the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. The Eucharist is our bond of peace. That's what connects us. That's what keeps the unity. May we be people who live our life worthy of the call we have received. Amen.